we got some news here that the Hot Toys Artisan Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith episode 3 actually was converting on waitlist for a lot of different people. And you know, Riley, this has been happening pretty regularly now. I think one or two different sort of batches for waitlist have come through now. And I think this is maybe the second or third time that it's been happened rather. And I think overall it is pretty exciting, but I do want to talk about sort of the implications of that, because I think this is one that a lot of people are considering questionable, and that's why I want to address the idea, the concept of Sideshow's approach towards these waitlists, because a lot of people are not really understanding sort of how this is working. And to be honest, I didn't either. And I was with Kiko at the time when my waitlist converted, and then things changed a little bit and I got a little bit more of a better understanding. So I'm going to bring up my personal email here and bring up sort of what the waitlist message looks like for people, just to share what they actually send you when the waitlist converts for you, right? So it's important to read the fine print. And this is something that I even missed too until Kiko corrected me on this and showed me in person. So here's what it says. You have the opportunity to purchase the waitlist product for a limited time. Act quickly as quantities are limited. So fulfillment is on first come, first served basis, and a piece is not guaranteed. Make sure to log in. So you have 24 hours. They give you 24 hours, right? But that's not really how it works, because if you read the fine print, a piece is first come, first served. So I was thinking, and I think a lot of collectors were under the misconception that this is going to be sent to one person at a time, and you have 24 hours to buy the figure or not, then it moves to the next one. Apparently, that's not how it works. So what they're going to do is they're going to send it to multiple people at a time, and then whoever buys it first gets the bag, right? I didn't know that was really how it worked, but now I do know. And I've seen some messages on the forums on Facebook of people sort of complaining about this, talking about, being upset about that this happened to them. So I saw one, actually, Sean Lewis, great dude in the collecting community. He tried to buy one. It went by for about an hour, and then it wouldn't let him buy it anymore. So this is something that I want to address, Riley, and I want to start with you on this one. So the waitlists are converting, but do we have a problem with the way the Sideshow is doing the system? Because normally this is not an issue, Riley, because, a figure is not usually in this demand and this limited. But with this one, I do want to caution people, if you get a waitlist conversion, you need to act fast, because if you don't, you probably ain't going to get it. And I told you, Riley, and Dean, the story backstage. This actually, I was on Sideshow sitting next to Kiko. We were looking at something Darth Vader related, and then literally a blue banner popped up on my screen, and it said waitlist opportunity for Hot Toys Anakin Skywalker. I was like, whoa! And Kiko was so upset, but it was hilarious. Kiko was like, man, that's ridiculous. And so I bought it, and Kiko was like, you were probably literally the first one to buy it, because I was on the website already, and it dropped down, and I bought it in 5 seconds. So I got it. And but Riley, do you have a problem with the waitlist system from Sideshow? I mean, what are your overall thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I might have a pretty spicy take here, honestly. I don't know if Kiko's watching, so I'm gonna see what he thinks. But he would probably be in agreement with me, but at the same time, he doesn't have the Anakin, so he might be not on my side. But I actually got the Anakin when it first got dropped on the waitlist. I was lucky enough. I think I was number 120 in line. I got super lucky, and I didn't have an issue getting it. I lucked out, but I feel like the fact that they're making, I think it's pretty clear that they're making more of these things than what they advertise it as, right? Because I know people are saying when there's waitlist, that means people are canceling, but I don't think that's the case here, because most people who would cancel their Artisan Anakin? Not a lot of people, maybe some people on financial issues, but overall, I feel like, I don't know, I'm not much of a fan of this, because I feel like they're labeling this as a limited edition piece, that they're not going to make more of it, and I feel like it's kind of false advertising for people who got it originally, because you had it listed at this number, and the fact that they're just creating another batch because they know it's hot and it sells well kind of ruins the whole exclusive factor in my eyes. And I know other people have agreed with that. I saw a comment say that too, their Hot Toys is making more. We know this, they're shady. So I don't know. I'm not as much a fan of it, but at the same time, does that make me kind of a selfish collector, because I'm kind of you're kind of giving other people who missed out not a chance to get it? Maybe. But for me, I feel like, since this was listed as an exclusive and limited edition, the fact that Sideshow are just sending out emails with they're making more of them, or they're getting more from Hot Toys, I don't know. It's a little interesting. So I first wanted to talk about that. For me, I'm not much a fan of that. And then it brings up the whole controversy of just waitlists in general. We looked at, I don't know if you saw this, but the Green Goblin, he was on waitlist, and now he's just on pre-order. He just randomly went to pre-order, and it's still like that. So I don't know. Something with Sideshow and their waitlist, their gimmicks, sometimes it'll just be I don't know. And I feel like that's the wrong move as well, because I know it'll make them more money making more of these Anakins, but also we're in a really bad spot in the economy. I feel like they should keep these limited things to just keep the market getting better and stabilizing more. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But overall, the fact that you have to be really quick with these waitlists, I don't know how I feel about it, because for one thing, it's not really like a normal waitlist figure. This is an exclusive. So I kind of do get what Sideshow is doing, how they make it quick. You got to be really quick on it, because you really weren't even supposed to get another batch of this thing, and now we got another chance. So I get that. But at the same time, people like have jobs, they have stuff to do. So I understand why people are upset, because if you just caught the email 2 hours late, you're screwed. You're out of luck. So that kind of sucks. I do feel for people. There's a lot of posts I saw on Instagram of like people like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, I just missed out. It says it's unable to order. So I do feel bad for those collectors, but yeah, at the same time, it is an exclusive limited edition piece. So I'm a little indifferent, I'd say, but I'd more so, I don't know. I'd rather just them have the exclusive version and then just move on from it. I'm not much of a fan of them getting more batches, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know, but that's just my take of it.
Right. And that's why, so Kiko and I had this conversation in person in Tennessee, Riley. And so I thought it was really interesting and really fascinating, because I was thinking the same thing at first. I was like, well, who would really be canceling this right now? Like, right. I will say though, out of the 3,000 or 4,000 or whatever of these they made, I think it was 3,000 they were advertising, at least on Sideshow, that Sideshow was carrying. Right. So I think people could have reservations about going through with it, just because a lot of people probably did impulse buy on this one. I think probably a lot of people did. So I was live streaming it. I know some people were even commenting saying like, I wasn't even really planning on buying it, and they did because they were just like, oh, this is fun. Right. So I think there are some people like that definitely maybe considering, maybe they'll get the episode 2 Anakin, or they'll wait for maybe an Ahsoka version or something like that. And maybe they did cancel it. Kiko brought up a really good point. He doesn't believe, I don't want to speak for him, but he doesn't believe, from what I understand, that Hot Toys is producing more under the table like that, because if people were to find out, people would never trust them again. So it's kind of a risky thing, but how would we find out is the question, right? How would we really know? Are you going to line up 4,000 people in one place and be like, let's count them?
I mean,
so
I do know one thing about that. I don't know if I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was going to let you know that I know Hot Toys. I don't know if you saw that, but it was for one of their limited exclusive. I don't know if it was in Hong Kong or China. Maybe the chat knows as well. But I remember they actually made a post after saying that they were going to make more. Like, they're going to make, I think it was like 300.
I think it was Joker, wasn't it? Or one of them like that.
Oh, was it? I thought it was Anakin, because I know people were like, oh, like
maybe, but Hot Toys did make a post saying like, we are making more. So they were pretty transparent about that.
Exactly. And I know Seyful said they're not numbering these figures, but aren't they? They are numbering it, right? Like it's a limited edition, like numbered piece, unless I'm wrong about that.
It's like not numbered for this one.
So for the Anakin, it's not numbered.
It's not. These artisan figures are not numbered, but they will be limited edition. So they're saying an edition size of 4,000, but they're, as far as I'm aware, from what I've been told, they're not numbered. So how would you really know, right? How would you know there's 4,000, because they're not numbered? Because it'd be a lot easier if they were numbered, and then someone online said, I have number 31. Like, oh shit, I have number 31 too. Then you'd be able to tell like something's wrong here. But
that's true.
But I don't think they're numbered.
I think I'm still on the other side though. I disagree with Kiko. I think they are making more personally, because I think they just know it's like people were like insanely interested in this figure. I think Sideshow maybe just told them like, maybe could we get like 300 more, and then they just shot a wait list out for people. That's what I think. Right.
It is numbered insofar as like, there's 3,000 of them, but but it's not like each one's gonna have a number on the base like a statue. It's not gonna be like that. So, but Dean, I want to let you hop in on this one. I mean, do we have a problem overall with the Sideshow waitlist system and them sending out emails to multiple people at a time? You got to kind of pay attention with these artisan figures. How are we open over the idea to that Hot Toys is producing more of these figures? What do you think overall?
Yeah, man, there's a whole can of worms. I think I said it like 2 weeks ago or last week that if they got caught doing that, at least in the American market,
right,
that would be like a suicide.
That's what I think. So,
but no, I mean, nothing's stopping them from making more, outside of the U.S. market, right? It's 3,000 for y'all, but we can make however many we want for the Asian market, and then those collectors can then, or the American collectors can then turn and buy from, the Tim Cents of the world or whoever. But in terms of the wait list converting, I mean, we all know fucking Sideshow does that shit. We've proven it like a dozen times where it's like, this figure's low stock. Oh, it's waitlisted. And then a month later, all of a sudden everybody's waitlist converts and the figure's just in stock for a year and a half. They
Right.
do it all the time. And then they go on their streams and they're like, we don't do that. If it says it's low stock, it's low stock. No, it's not. You're fucking lying. You're getting people to FOMO pre-order shit. And I bet that's what happened with this. They sold a bunch, still had enough in reserve. They're like, oh, we'll put it on wait list. That way when people's waitlist converts, they're like, oh my God, I could finally get one. And they pre-order without even thinking about it.
Right.
I think that's probably the case because we've seen it time and time again. But I don't have any proof that that's what's happening. It's just kind of how I,
Right.
It's perceived allegedly. I don't want to say anything for fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think you're also right, Will. I think a lot of people ordered it just for the fuck of it, and now a month or two later, they're like, I don't really want to spend $600, so I'm going to cancel my. It's probably a combination of the two.
Right.
If I had to bet money on it.
Yeah. Well, it's tough because that's why, again, if you sort of go down the rabbit hole of how would this make sense logically for Hot Toys to do this? Because Riley, like you're saying, if they are making more, you do have the idea that it's in their benefit to do so in a sense, because they're leaving a lot of money on the table by leaving thousands of people on a wait list who want to buy it. Right. So you have thousands of people on a wait list, you're losing all that money that you could potentially get in revenue by selling it. But at the same time, what would the backlash be if you actually did make more, didn't communicate to people, and then people found out about it and felt kind of swindled? Like that would be, I think, way worse than leaving money on the table, because that's your reputation at stake and that affects your long-term business. So I don't know that they would be that stupid, but maybe Dean has a good point, I think, about the idea that maybe Sideshow sort of said, okay, we have 3,000, but they didn't sell 3,000 on that day. Like maybe they said, okay, we're going to sell 2,500. Or 2,750 or something, and then maybe we'll hold a little bit and then get some people on the wait list, gauge interest, and then pump out some more. It could be that. And it was always 3,000 in that case, but it was just a matter of how they dispersed them. Because I will say, you guys know this, like Anakin's super hot, we get that, but the Joker Heath Ledger is also really hot, and that one honestly stayed in stock much longer on the day of the drop than Anakin did. Anakin was like really difficult. Like that was like the hardest one for sure. I know Joker had more units from my understanding. I think it had 4,000 compared to 3,000. I get that, but still, like Joker was much easier to get through. And Wanda was even pretty straightforward. I mean, people didn't get her. I get that, but Wanda was definitely easier than Anakin too.
I think Spider-Man was too. He wasn't that.
Yeah, exactly. But Anakin was like a different beast altogether. And now maybe it's starting to make sense as to why. Like maybe they just held some. Like,
if we start seeing the other characters convert, the Wandas, the Jokers, whoever, then I could be like, oh, that's a little weird.
Right.
All of a sudden, like they're all converting.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like maybe people are canceling, but like if anyone who knows this hobby, they know that they can easily like flip this. They can easily sell it, at least for the money they even paid for. Like I feel like most people would keep it. Like they wouldn't get this rid of it if it's a limited edition, but I don't know, maybe
that is true, Riley, but I guess some people don't want to put the money up front to do that. Like they don't want to put up the 475 or 500 shipped that it's going to cost you to do that. That's what I'm wondering, because is
it 3,000 for the US or 3,000 worldwide? Sky is asking.
I think it's 3,000 for the US.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up, but I think it might be 3,500 or 4,000 worldwide, something like that. But I got to check. Maybe it is 3,000 worldwide. I have to check, but I'm pretty sure that's what Sideshow's allotment. I'm not sure.
Because they have it listed there 3,000. So I think Sideshow got 3,000, but there's more out there in other.
Right, exactly. So, but
that was the like if you did the math of the queue of like, we're 75% out. Like Sideshow had 3,000.
So I'm actually wrong. So it was less. So it was 3,000 worldwide period as of post. So so they're right. Yeah. So it's 3,000 worldwide period. Let me go back. Sorry. 3,000 worldwide. So again, Sideshow probably didn't have 3,000 then. They probably had about 2,000 of them, maybe. Like so, and maybe, but again, say just rework the numbers then. Maybe they sold 1,500 that day. or because what was I, Riley? I was on the list. That makes about sense, honestly, because I think I was like 1,600 or something on the list originally when I went into the queue, and I was like 100 on the wait list. So it would make sense maybe that they sold maybe 15 or 1,600.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And then maybe they said, okay, we're going to keep 400 just as, whatever. And maybe they even do like a fucking giveaway at some point. Maybe they're just like, yeah, we have one and we're going to do a giveaway on fucking, Spooktacular next year or some shit like that. Like maybe they'll do something like that. Yeah. Maybe they do something like that. So maybe they withheld some just to see how it would go. But
damn, 3,000, that's low.
Yeah. Like so yeah.
Daniel said you guys should know these things before you live stream. To be fair, this was months ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was a while back.
It's once it's out of sight, out of mind. It's like, okay, the Anakin fucking hoopla is over. I'm not gonna talk about it.
Right. It's fine, dude. It's fine. You know how Daniel is. Daniel's he's a good dude. I'm not attacking the guy. It's like you're not wrong, Daniel, but also that was he's all about precision, dude, and healthy constructive criticism. So yeah, I appreciate it, Daniel. But so that's what I would say. I mean, that's something to think about. So 3,000 worldwide, but yeah, it's been quite a while. But yeah, you're right, Blitz. Warehouse finds, maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this shakes out for people. Again, if you do have a waitlist convert, please have push notifications on your email or something, because if you get notified and this goes longer than like 30 minutes, you're probably going to miss it.
Dude, I know Kiko's on his boat trip, just refreshing every minute.
He will be, bro. He will be. But we have some people that have one that have messaged me and stuff that have considered selling it. So I think we're gonna work out for him. So